Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on with you guys out there in the crypto OTC on the chain crypto community out there? Everyone who gathers, listens on the podcast, watching us live. You guys are awesome. I'll tell you guys what's down and what's going on right now. If the Democrats win, forget about crypto, forget about XRP, forget about all that stuff and all that great innovation that could happen here in this country because it's leaving. It's going to be gone. The crypto boom, you know when that comes? If Trump, that's when it comes, 2024 with Trump. We're going to dig into that. A lot of naysayers out there. We're seeing a lot of individuals that have moved over to the right camp. We saw it lately with RFK and Tulsi Gabbard, and another billionaire is joining the Trump team. He used to be a lifelong Democrat. It's really interesting to see this move. And we're going to also dig into and kind of comment on Triple B's comment that he posted right up there in the beginning. But Chip, if you're ready to kick this thing off.
Go. I think we should go. Hey. Hey, guys, drop where you're coming in from. Drop it right on the comments over there. Where you're coming in from, anywhere across this vast world. I know a lot of you down under. I know. We say, who's down? Who's down under? Who's down with OTC? We will talk with you as well. So, yeah, we've got a great crypto show planned for you tonight.
Great.
Great crypto show. A great crypto show.
Clearwater, Florida is in the house. Give a quick shout out where you guys are tuning in from.
Clearwater, but beautiful. A little bit. He's scared that Trump won't make it back in office. They're scared to death of him. Well, listen, they got two liabilities on the ticket. It's they're their own worst nightmare. The best thing that ever happened to the Trump campaign was Harris and Walz. That's the best possible thing that ever happened.
Bradenton. We got Bradenton here.
Gosh,
got Clearwater here. And Florida is representing strong right now.
It's the only representation we have. And of course we have James Crypto Rule. Yes.
All right, let's get into it. We're gonna roll through this. We have some really good videos lined up. We're gonna get into some good expos. We're gonna dig in. We're going to dissect this. It's really important. We got to make sure that we completely understand what the outcome is, and we have to be able to back up everything that's being said. So if we say, if there's an if-then statement, if Democrat, then innovation and all that great stuff will leave, we need to back that up. If Trump wins, then, all that, is you can say, hey, we're going to have an amazing economy. Everything's going to be great over here. And you can really, be very happy when it comes to crypto. But let's dig in because we have to connect the geopolitics with the crypto, with the economic part of it. You have to understand all components of it, right, Chip? Because if you only understand one part, you're missing out on the rest of it.
That's right. And I think this is a good time to throw Triple B's comment. Doesn't matter who's elected here. There will be a crypto boom. There will always be a bull market. There will always be a bear market. That I agree on. Stop thinking Trump or Harris is going to do anything to help the American people. Well, it's not about whether, we know one has helped the American people because we saw it. It was 4 years, right? 4 years of a booming economy, 4 years of drilling locally. There's more gasoline, petroleum in the U.S. than anywhere else in the world. And when you bring the price of gasoline down, you bring the cost down of moving goods and services like food, and you bring the cost of food down. So everything comes down with it. When you make miscalculations like this administration and the resident in the White House, it's been almost 45 days now, 60 days. Does anybody even know, or anyone heard Biden? He's been on vacation most of the time. Nobody even knows. No one hears from him. And you've got the other half, the VP, who's claiming that if you just elect her, she will make stuff happen. And the crypto bros keep telling us that if she does get elected, she's going to pivot to be pro-crypto. There's zero evidence of that, by the way. As a matter of fact, Operation Choke Point 2.0 is in full effect. All the people who are responsible for that choke point are on her team. All the people who hate crypto are on her team. It's a big carryover. So if you think something different's going to happen, it's that whole, Einstein said, the definition of insanity is Same thing over and over happening, and you're expecting something different, right? Something different's going to happen. This time it's going to be real. This time, okay, there's no evidence of that, but we keep hearing.
Support it.
Yeah, we even have Mark Cuban supporting John Deaton. Now, that's you want to talk about how important that is.
Critical.
Mark Cuban is a devout leftist Democrat, and he's supporting a Republican. Why? Because he believes deeply in cryptocurrency. He believes in free markets. He also believes heavily in blockchain, and that's why he wants to back John Deaton, because one of the biggest people in there in Washington, Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren, she's the one who has it out for crypto, and she's leading the way. She has a lot of influence. So if you don't think that's monumental for somebody like Mark Cuban to support John Deaton running against, that's massive, right? So, and we talked about this so many times. We have to, it's got to be a big tent. You've got to allow people in. You got to allow that. You're not going to agree on everything, but let's talk about what Cuban's doing right. Let's talk about, Nicole Shanahan. Okay. She was probably left of Bobby Kennedy Jr. and what she's recently come out with some of these videos, and we'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at one of them today, but what she's been doing is like, it's crazy. I mean, Jeff and I almost can't believe what we're seeing with the turnaround, right? What we're seeing with even like,
that's right.
And he was a lifelong Democrat. He believes probably 85-90% of what Biden and Harris believe, but he is pieces that he agrees with. The whole thing about make America healthy again, of getting rid of all these GMOs, getting rid of all the garbage. I mean, you look at him, you see that famous shot, picture in the beach, 1967, the whole freaking beach, hundreds of people, not one overweight person on the entire beach, all fit, all in. And so what's happened, right? So this is where you got a whole vax thing. They're calling him a crazy nut job. His own party has destroyed him on this whole thing, thinking he's the misinformation. So what? It's his opinion. It's called free speech, right? And he happens to be right. He happens to be proven right on it. So that's a guy. Put him in charge of Health and Human Services and let him go.
Let him do his thing. And to this point, and as you went down this narrative, I look at the comment from Triple B, and I would kind of agree in some situations that if we would have allowed the same establishment characters that we've always seen, who they are, right? You would get like a Mitt Romney, or maybe you take a Nancy Pelosi or a Hillary Clinton, or, you can kind of understand, where I'm going with that. You would get the same thing, basically the same outcome. We're in a different situation right now. You have the Democrat Party that has swung so far left that is now embracing insanity, and we're seeing it unfold. We're seeing, the illegal entry of our country by millions upon millions upon millions of people. It's made it less safe. We've seen our economy shrink. We've seen inflation skyrocketing. We've seen all these things that are happening around us. And yet the crazies are now running the asylum, right? The animals are now in charge of the farm. Things are out of whack. So now what do you need to bring that all back in? The pendulum. Chip and I talk about the pendulum all the time. It's artificially pulled over to the left. We have to right that pendulum. It has to be swinging again. The pendulum's always going to swing a little bit right of center. Right now it has to be brought back to the right. And in order to do that, you have a coming together of multiple minds, as Chip has mentioned. You have people, you're embracing what they do well. So to have an RFK and to have Shanahan, joining together, and now they're stumping for Trump. You have Tulsi Gabbard, who's come across. You have other, billionaires. You have people like Elon Musk. You have the Winklevoss twins. You have the CEO of Yahoo. You have of Yahoo Finance. You have all these different individuals. The latest one, if you read his X post, is Bill Ackman, and he is completely livid with the state of affairs that are going on right now. And we're going to see him move in that camp as well. There's more and more that, and the thing is that they don't all agree from an ideological perspective, and they're coming together to right the ship because they know that we're so far off course with this country. But that's the distinction. That's why it's so different. Can we have a crypto boom otherwise? I don't think we can. Honestly, I believe that if the left are in charge, they don't like decentralization. They don't want freedom. They're talking about taxing unrealized gains. So if they're taxing unrealized gains, that's going to be an immediate fragmentation of our economic balance and our economic prosperity in this country. It's going to strip the country of huge amounts of money, and you're going to see entrepreneurship and job growth shrink down to almost nothing, and it's going to push all of that offshore. But those are some of the ideas that they have. We're going to unpack more of it. So what you need to see right now is that we have to embrace freedom. We have to embrace our Constitution. We have to make sure that those that are going to be leading the country, share those same values. And then we can look back and say, okay, there'll be a crypto boom. We're going to see financial growth in this country. If you take out, you're going to have a massive vacuum. And yeah, you might see Bitcoin still go up. You might see some development. But without the U.S. involved in it, and if you take people's money away, disposable income away, and they don't have the means to invest, and we're not just talking about continuously looking for an asset that people hope goes up in value. We're talking about building and developing with the technology that's going to lead to the furtherance of the growth of this space. They're talking about more stable coin. We're talking about more movement of money. We're talking about actually building infrastructure, further infrastructure around this technology that's going to use it. If you don't have that, you have no boom. And so I think that's, a big component of everything that we're talking about.
There's a boom. So Jungle Ling says, Chris Larson has a plan.
That's
I'm voting for Harris. That's funny. That's a funny one. That's pretty good. Connor McMahon says, I love XRP, but Trump is so negative, I can't listen to him anymore. Well, I don't know what's negative about getting rid of Gary Gensler. I don't know what's negative saying day one. Is there a way to do that? There's a bill. I mean, that they can take him out. I don't know what's negative about being very pro crypto. I don't know what's negative about, drill baby drill, which is bringing back the drilling and undoing everything that Biden Harris has done. I mean, you're talking about having like 10,000 jobs went up in smoke, just like that. Boom, all that stuff gone. So I don't see that any of that being negative. And the negativity is what you're missing, Connor, is you don't get throat punched 24/7. And I don't know, I probably might be able to handle it for a few days, few weeks. But you don't have it for 7 years, 8 years. Throat punch 24/7 a day. And and the only one, a Republican that's ever fought back, his name is Donald Trump. Everybody else, coward. Bush, biggest pussy that ever lived. Also a rhino, also a neocon, right? So you have these guys that just sit there and take it, little whiny crybabies. And one thing that Trump taught Republicans, he taught them how to win. He taught them you don't have to apologize. The theme that used to happen in the Democrat Party is one Republican would do something dumb, and then every Republican would be asked in an interview, "Do you support that? Would you want to apologize for that person?" And Trump turned that around, right? They don't do that crap anymore because he does it. He goes after them. So if someone's going to attack him, he's always said, "I'll punch you 10 times harder," and he will. He'll hit you back pretty hard, and that's what he's doing. It's called defense. Yeah, you can't have a strong offense. You got to have a strong defense too. Strong defense wins wars. Strong defense wins ball games. It wins everything. So that's one of the key things I think that you might be missing there.
And that's why Feifei was saying, why do you care what Trump said or is saying? It's what he's doing that's most important there. That's what's important. Focus on the deeds, not what, because if you're just to focus on what they say, then listen to the lies coming out of Kamala Harris's mouth as she debates herself, from a couple of years ago, and you want to be led down the wrong path. Oh, she's not going to end fracking, but she said she wanted to get rid of fracking. Joe Biden said he wouldn't, support removing fracking. She supported Biden because she's the vice president, but she said when she was running, in the primary, she's against fracking. It's so, and that's just little snippets. I mean, there's a lot more than that, but she's a do nothing for the past 3.5 years. So I don't understand where people think that somehow they're going to get on board. Nancy Pelosi, I think all of a sudden she's going to get on board and start supporting crypto. Elizabeth Warren, hopefully she's out. Hopefully we see John Deaton, as you brought up right in the beginning. John Deaton is able to unseat her. Hopefully he wins the primary coming up here September 3rd. So if you're in Massachusetts, make sure you get out and vote Tuesday for John Deaton. That's coming up Tuesday. Tuesday.
Of course, here in the U.S. and
Go
Canada,
vote
we
on
have
Tuesday. Massachusetts.
Labor Day. So Labor Day is that one day the slaves get off, right? The slaves take off one day. You get one day, slaves. You get to have off a day of work, and celebrate the fact that you're a worker, a good worker, and you contribute to the system and all that good stuff. So it's always a good thing. But I wanted to lead off with this right here because Shanahan posted this, and I think this is pretty cool meme. Picture here for people listening to the podcast. This is a picture of JFK, and you have RFK standing together, two brothers. They started it, and at the very bottom frame, you've got RFK Jr. with Trump. They'll finish it. So this is a good one. I don't want to read too far into this, but if you know, you know. Let's put it that way. If you know, you understand this meme very well. If you don't, do a little bit of research. It'll start making sense to you. But the man that started it all is on the top right there, and JFK. He's the one that started it all. He's the one that go look up his secret society speech, and then it'll all start making a little bit more sense to you, and it'll come into perspective. So, and along with that, the next thing I want to do, well, first of all, here we want to go this, boom, right there, super sticker. Thank you for that. XRP Plumbing.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Look at that nice comment. What's up, Chip and Jeff? Hope you fellas are doing great. Thanks for the great content you bring to us all the time, man. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys too, man. Appreciate you, and especially on the support side of it. But just coming in here, having the conversation, not everyone's going to come in and agree with us, and you guys aren't always going to agree with us, and this is good. I mean, we saw this. Look, this is what we need. Triple B. We need to see different ideas expressed. We need to see different thoughts. We're not going to ignore a comment like this. We think it's important. Listen, this is the way somebody feels strongly on it, and this is how you get the word and the message out there. This is how you want to have this sort of dialogue.
That's right.
Yeah, we played the Independence the other day, but I want to play this powerful video. I mean, I watched this thing. I didn't know what to expect to come out of it, but this was posted by Nicole Shanahan. She was the vice president vice president nominee chosen by RFK Jr., and she used to be far left Democrat, if you know anything about her. So let's watch this.
Conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. Yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Listen to the wind blow. Watch.
Okay, I just realized we can't play this video. Jeff, did you just realize at the same time I did? Damn it. I'm going to turn the volume off of it.
Well, man. Oh, they got the whole music going out through the whole thing.
They got the music on there. Damn it.
Probably already got the strike.
Damn. Don't we have like 11 seconds? Don't we have like 11 seconds to play? Gosh.
Isn't there do we have to stop it and start it and talk over it?
No, Jeff.
It's a way to interrupt it.
I don't know. I just realized oh crap, we can't play that.
All right. It was a good video.
All right, so let's see.
See if we can sing the song while it goes on.
So this is a good one. So there's a quote that flashes on the black screen. Might does not make right. Right makes right. This is T.H. White and the once and future king. And again, we're going to play, it's unfortunate, man. Why do they have to put copyrighted music in there? Gosh, so you see Fidel Castro in here. You see JFK, having it's not going to work. It's not going to play. What I'll do is let's do this. Why don't you guys watch it? Yeah, we blew it. That happens. Unfortunately, the funny thing is you can put all this crap on X all day long. I can repost this 10 times, no strikes. But you do it in there and someone's going to get, it's just where we are, unfortunately, in this right. Yeah, so where this whole thing ends up at the end is finish the story. It's basically, it's kind of a little bit of a look throughout history, but unfortunately, we can't play it. The cool thing is what YouTube is letting us do now is if they get strikes, they will let us click a button and it'll go in there and it has the start and stop points. You used to have to go in there and click on and try to, and you just hit erase and it just erases it for the video. Because what it does is it demonetizes the video, which is bad.
And then
but anyway, we did catch it. Hopefully we'll see. It's I couldn't get on that fast enough.
Poorly against everything. Algorithm ruins everything.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
We could play it for those that are watching live and then have it clipped out, and then nobody gets to watch it on the replay. Then you have to go to the link
Yeah, but then
and go
it's
see it.
yeah.
Then you have to go to
No.
onthechain.io, find the video, find the link to the video.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately.
you guys will be
that's-
able to watch it there anyways. When we're done, we post everything to onthechain.io. You can search it up. You can go in, drill down, find all the different articles, videos, links to everything that we've talked about. So
Yeah, and the best way to do that too is to come right here. If you scroll to the bottom right here, there it is right here. Join the OTC family. Put your email address and your full name in there. We don't spam you guys. I'll drop that in there. Guys, go sign up for that. We'll post the video so you can take a look at it. There it is. Go there, go sign up. And at the conclusion of every show, you basically essentially get this right here. Well, this is probably not a good one because we spent a lot of time, but give you an idea. You kind of get an email that looks like this. Has the locations of the show,
so cool.
has a show summary, and all of the things we post. So you'll see all of the things. Oh, they posted something interesting. And then what you'll see is all the things we never get to. So you'll see what we're thinking about. There's going to be some hidden ones in there that you're just not going to see because we usually don't get to them.
A lot of great content.
But a lot of great content right there. You'll get an email with all this. You can click through.
Yeah.
But you can see a lot of show prep there.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody watching over on Rumble. We're streaming live on Rumble as well. I can see your comments. So if you're on Rumble, we have a different chat box for that. I'll have to share the screen for everyone to see it if we want to share your comment, but we're monitoring that. I just want to give a quick shout out to Davey X1 watching over there on Rumble. We got some Rumble followers, which is cool. Everybody else over here watching on X, watching on YouTube. And typically we have one follower over on Twitch that holds down the fort over on Twitch. Not there right now, but we've got, overall it's not bad, reaching a decent number of people here. Got about 170 people on with us right now. Hopefully that number increases a little bit as we go through this critical content. So XRP Plumbing wants to know if we got our invite from Ripple to go to Swell. The answer is a resolute
no. Nay. I'm gonna check live for you right here. Now all it says, I didn't even get it. We accepted it. I didn't even get any of that.
It's kind of like you submit it and nothing.
Yeah, it says
it'd be nice to get an auto.
It says, thank you for your interest in attending Swell 2024. We're reviewing your request. And then you know how long that review is going to take? When Swell ends, they'll get to the review process.
And but we won't be on the list.
Yeah, it'd be fun to talk about. I was like, oh, we were rejected to anyway. But you know what, Jeff, what we're going to do if we do get rejected? We're going to hit up our boys over in APAC region over there. Neil and the boys over there, the Ripple guys. Well, those guys are amazing. Have so much respect for what they're doing for Ripple, especially and the region that's really taken off. So, but who knows? We'll see. I don't know. I mean, they don't have to let you in. They don't have to. There's no reason they have to say like, oh yeah, you can go. But that was on 8/24, and it's now September 1st. So it's almost a week's gone by. 1 week's gone by. Was a Saturday, last Saturday. So it's technically the 8th day. Not that anyone's counting, but we'll see too. It's funny because I was asking James Rule too if he got accepted. He filled his out too, and he got the same message. And I was asking him if he was. I don't know if Jungle requested one. Yeah,
man. Jungle, did you request an invite to Swell? If you're still here,
or if anybody else was accepted, it'd be interesting to know.
Oh yeah, who gets to go?
Yeah, who gets to go? But it'd be great to go. I would be. My first Swell would be fantastic. That we didn't have to go to Singapore for. It'd be fantastic, but
that'd be awesome. However,
it's in South Beach, Miami, in a weird place. I'm not going to say that. It's just an odd
venue.
Odd venue away from everything, but it looks cool. I mean, it's probably a cool venue, but
didn't seem to be any parking. But
parking might be an issue for us, Jeff. I don't think we're going to get parking. Like we might have to just like park at like one of the local hotels and get like an Uber over there or something. Which is there's like one little tiny.
What do we look it up? What is it? It held like 80 cars.
Yeah, like 80 cars. And that's like for the neighboring other items going on there as well. So that might be somewhat of an issue. We'll see what that ends up being.
Hey, Devon Steve has switched over to Rumble. He's no longer on YouTube. He's over there on Rumble and said he switched over there to make up some numbers on Rumble. So now he's a Rumbler, rumbling away over on Rumble. So there you go. All right, let's dig into some more stuff.
I want to dig into something this. I just want to talk a little about UK
bit.
content here for a second. We're not going to watch this whole video, but what struck me as odd is that what we see is somebody posting a meme. A meme is a joke, right? It's a clever way to make fun of something. And we're seeing people going to prison for 3 years for posting a meme on Facebook, on X. They're going to jail like in record droves. So came across this video. I don't know if it's a new one, but it just goes to show you. But here's the video. So here's this video. Now you have, and this just goes to show you, this is the difference between the United States and the UK. Okay, you got two police officers on top of
it's embarrassing.
some dude. This is beyond embarrassing. Now watch what happens here. You got another one. Just they're all being rolled over. They can't control it. They don't have any guns. They don't have any training on how to subdue somebody.
None.
There's
She's
one guy
sitting on him. She's in a compromised position.
Yeah. Now watch this. Now look at this. Two
He's
people.
up. They're on the ground.
This
What
is
are
not
they
a
doing?
sitcom. He's rocking to try to get out of them. They're both on the ground. Okay. This is just an embarrassing scenario for anybody.
It's so embarrassing.
But they're putting people for putting memes in. They can't even get a hold of these people here. It's the glorious fight. Look at this. May I even say that their uniforms are kind of goofy looking too. I mean, it's the whole thing is just like. So now watch. This gets even better, but it's just to me, I don't understand. Look, now somebody else gets in on the mix, and then boom,
Where's
rolls
the taser? Why is
There's
there
no taser.
Look how close they are to them. Look at this. Oh my god.
Now this is a
Seriously?
woman is just ripping the guy
But look
off,
at he's not letting go.
and she's stomping
now
on him.
the other one's over
Look
there.
at the guy holding her back. How
Oh.
ineffective is this guy?
This is so embarrassing. Is this for real?
This is
Is
for real.
this like
Jeff.
a real apprehension?
It's like a Benny Hill skit. My God, it's horrific.
We should put Benny Hill music to it. Oh my god.
Now here she comes again. She's
Tase
gonna
me,
watch
bro.
this. She's
Don't
gonna try to
tase
pull
me,
the
bro.
She's trying to pull the police officer. I mean, this is. Look at this.
Oh my god.
He's assaulting
This
a
is so
police
horrible.
officer.
This is so
He goes
horrible.
underneath the wheel of the bus.
Oh my god.
What is going on, Jeff?
What the hell?
Look, he just got rolled. The woman is down. She can't get up. This poor guy's. Look, he can barely hold her back. He's. I
What
hope the
is
wind
going-
doesn't blow. He might be under that tire too. My God.
Oh, God. Look at the crypto investigator says as a patrol cop retired from Stockton Police, Stockton, California. This is an embarrassment to police departments and police officers. DEI at its best. What in the world?
Look at the guy. He's
don't even
underneath
know.
the wheel of a bus. How many police do you need to subdue a guy, right?
And
They
now
don't
you
put-
got another one coming over.
yeah, and they don't put cuffs on
Oh,
him, right?
look at that. Look at that. Just threw him across the. Oh my god. How many is it taking to subdue
I
him?
mean, do they have zip ties? They have something to subdue this. Like you put the cuffs on, you put them over, slap the cuff on the one, slap. Like you've seen it a million times, right? And we can. It's just Monty Python. Yeah, it's a Monty Python skit. It's just unbelievable, right? This is just. It is somewhat ridiculous, man.
Just zero respect. None.
I think that's. I mean, don't you think that? Don't you find that whole thing just completely odd, Jeff? The whole bit of it.
It's horrible.
All right, so let me play this.
embarrassing.
Let me play this next one, okay? Because I want to contrast these two things. You got
Yeah, be
somebody did
mindful.
something. They're trying to subdue a potential suspect, right? We don't know what happened. We don't know but I want to play this just to contrast what's going on here, because this would make you believe that this is the UK, but it's not. It's actually the United States. So is the United States turning into the UK? Watch this story right here. On the left part of the screen, you're going to see somebody had put up signs. You can call them memes because they're heavily criticizing the administration or heavily criticizing government. And watch what they refer to it as.
Are following a number of significant leads, I think, fostered by video evidence that we have and other evidence that we have that has helped us kind of narrow in on some individuals.
And Thomas says that he doesn't necessarily believe that this act that happened in Denver is necessarily connected to similar crimes playing out across the nation. Of course, if you know anything about this crime, you're asked to call Denver police. Reporting on Colfax, Gabrielle Franklin, Fox 31.
We are
a crime, Jeff.
What was the crime?
Look, do you see the sign on the top left?
I see it.
That's the crime.
What?
Somebody started posting those up. They were covering them up.
Oh, they were posting that sign.
Yeah. Basically what it says is, I don't even know if I can say it, but you can read it right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's heavily criticizing the fact that yeah, it's a statement on where we are right now. And they're calling this a crime, a hate crime. And again, there's free speech. There's no such thing as a hate crime. This whole thing is made up. It doesn't exist in the Constitution. It doesn't exist in the First Amendment. The First Amendment says you have the freedom of speech. If you don't like said freedom of speech, you ignore it. You walk away from it. You shun it. You argue about it. You shut it down. But and with words, not like this. So I've always had a problem with anything called hate speech because there's no such thing as hate speech. Sticks and stones will break my bones. Names will never hurt me. That's how I grew up, right? We never worried about names. I got called plenty of them. I get called plenty of them today, Jeff. But I find this to be incredibly appalling and bizarre to me. Like, are we turning in the UK? Are we really going there?
That's so weak. But it's Colorado, you know.
Democrat run, hello.
Scotty saying, I heard the Colorado Hells Angel MC are heading to Aurora to help out with the gang over there, the gang issues.
Yeah, I
saw something on that. There were hundreds and hundreds of them driving down the street. Assuming that was accurate. But that would be pretty amazing.
To investigator, it's definitely going to be happening in the USA. State of affairs for sure. If you guys see this comment, touch your nose. Do you remember that video? So, yeah. But the funny thing was, but we're supposed to, like, we're not supposed to put the comment up. We're supposed to do this. So there was a video floating around. RFK Jr. He's talking, and someone in the comments says, "If JFK Jr. is still alive, touch your nose," and then he touches his nose. And so everyone's like, oh, I mean, you know, yeah. Everybody is afraid to make for a move for political correctness. And this whole idea of being politically correct is to assume that there's a way and a right way and a wrong way. The whole idea of political correctness, it has to be language in the right part of the party, right? This is Nazi Germany. If you were saying it in the name of the party, the Third Reich, you were in good graces. If you criticized or against it, just didn't exist anymore on the planet. That's it. You just were taken out.
Didn't work out too well for you.
Didn't work out too well for you, right? But what they're saying, then I heard the police chief, I heard the mayor come out and say, oh, nothing happened. Nobody's taken over anything. And we keep seeing the video. So I don't know. I mean, we're going to probably get more video and more education on it as it sort of comes up. But
yeah,
I find that to be incredible. But Jeff, when we talk about the insurrection,
chaos.
You know how the talk we had about the insurrection?
No.
Yeah, on J6, this is the real insurrection. It started back in 2015.
And it continues till today, actually. All right, let's play it. This is the beginning of the real insurrection. Exactly where it started. 2015, Russia hoax, the whole dossier, the fake dossier. And then it kept aggravating, through 2020 and beyond. And as we get into it, it's just so blatantly obvious. And here, the question is, why would you think, and this goes to the crypto bros out there and anyone who thinks there could be some massive, again, they love using the word reset, but they're going to have
you were in the house.
There he is. Our Twitch viewer from Belgium. Awesome. But when you see these individuals in Congress speaking and you hear the hate and the vitriol and the call for violence, there's no way you're coming back from that. You're not turning these people's minds. You're not going to say, hey, why not embrace decentralization? Why not start embracing freedom? Because they stand in direct opposition to it. They're standing in the way. It's like they're a brick wall, and you're going to keep ramming your head into that brick wall, thinking that somehow it's going to change. Or like Chip said before, Einstein's definition of insanity: keep repeating the same thing over and over and expect different results. Hey, let's play the clip.
Let's go.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
Biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
Her career was over after that.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So the moral of the story, the lesson that we learned, right to Kamala Harris, calling for violence in the streets, saying they won't let up, they shouldn't let up. And we're talking about, this is when Antifa and BLM were rioting in the streets and burning down neighborhoods. They took over city blocks in Seattle. Portland, Oregon was on fire for long periods of time. We saw the same thing going on in parts of in Minneapolis and elsewhere. Florida, guess what? Didn't happen because we had a real governor that said, you know what? You do it here, we're not putting up with it. They tried. They hit a police car with a skateboard. That whole thing was shut down. They tried to do it in Fort Lauderdale. The police were there. They took them out of the park. Those people disappeared, you know. But in all these weak beta-led states, and you hear that mindset, the violence and the hate that they had, and the call for that was the true insurrection. That's where it began. They wanted the scenario. They wanted the violence. They wanted the imagery, because then people don't remember, you know, typically, right? You have the vidiots are still out there, and they have these short attention spans. And so they'll take the imagery they saw, and then when they connected it, you know, from the whole January 6th thing, they see that violence and they remember what was happening. And then they see some of the things that were going on in January 6th, like, oh yeah, that's right. They were rioting and burning cities down. So of course they're thinking that while you have people on the Capitol. And it's such a travesty, Chip. I mean, to see a Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, who was the one that ran the Financial Services Committee. These aren't just, and then you have these actors. You have Madonna out there calling for the murder of a president. You have that other clown actor, you know, calling for that he wanted to murder a president. I mean, when you say things like that, it kind of goes beyond the freedom of speech. You have your freedoms up to a certain point until you threaten somebody. And they were direct threats. She's talking about blowing up the White House. Now, could a sane person think from her interpretation that she would do it? I don't know. When you stack them up one by one after another, and you see them calling for violence in the streets, and violence actually happened. And then they went after Rand Paul. They went after Rand Paul when he was walking
with
down
his
the
wife.
street, and his wife. They went after the wife, and they were in a very dangerous predicament. And it magnified. Yeah. And so a lot of people were out there, and the violence happened and was perpetrated because of them, because of what they did. And then they come back and try to connect it. So here's the thing. Do you want these people running this country any longer? That's the decision. So you take them. Do you think those people, all those, the media faces just across the board over all these years, do you think that all of a sudden there's going to be some awakening with a Kamala Harris and this other guy, and all of a sudden they're going to be like, hey, you know what? We support innovation in this country. We support freedoms in this country. We support your First Amendment and your Second Amendment, right? You think so? That's a clown show to even consider that. But that's the direction. If they allow that chaos to happen and unfold, and we're seeing, you know, if what's happening in Colorado is true, and you have gangs taking over buildings and the police aren't doing anything about it, and the National Guard hasn't been called up, and the military isn't there, and we're not getting rid of these people because those are invaders. They're illegally in this country. You know, they're not citizens of this country. So now they've taken over actual territory in our country as an invading force. So we're at a crossroads, and we have to make sure that our country is healthy in order for us to prosper. You know, so all of these things are intersecting right now, and that's why Chip and I have pivoted so much to go, you know, into the political side of it, because we're coming up to one of the most critical elections of any of our lifetimes, and it doesn't just impact the United States. It's going to impact the entire world, because when we lead with freedom, the rest of the world can follow and also live in freedom. And what we're seeing unfold in the UK and other parts of the world, we can't stand for that. You know, we the clown show that we just saw, you know, that we can't have that. That makes no sense in a free world, you know, to have, you know, that type of
politicians calling for violence, right?
Right, exactly.
So let's go through some of the comments. E for Rockin says you cannot stop the pendulum. You cannot stop that pendulum, because when you overcalculate, it's just like, you know, it's the same thing that happens when you're driving down the road. You kind of like misturn here, and then when you try to overcorrect, it just it swings back with a vengeance. Missed the first 10 minutes. Now let's go to this one here. We got XRP Chevy says, I'm out of Fort Lauderdale now since December, and I'm in Tennessee now. Good for you, man.
Wow. There you go.
Robert De Niro needs a stepladder to punch Trump in the face. Dude's like 5'2". Sophie, anybody seen the trailer for Civil War? What kind of American are you? That was like one in the trailer. Saw that. Yeah. It's like, yeah, a movie about Civil War is coming out. And of course, let's see how they depict both sides, right? Crypto Web says, where are these Democrats?
Let's see if I can't really share it, but Devon Steve had some good ones here. He said, these types are oh so liberal as long as you're good with them. If the U.S. sneezes, the rest catch a cold. And that's exactly, you know, point on right there.
And here's E for Rockin. Come get me, Donnie Deutsch. Donnie Deutsch.
No,
he was
this
in that
one here.
Oh, sorry.
No. Say this one here, Scotty. That was way back in the day when Mad Maxine was kissing SBF. It's all normal.
Yeah.
Remember blowing kisses to him? They loved him.
They loved him, right?
How did that work out?
Yeah, worked out pretty well. They got tons of donations, and none of them gave it back.
Right.
And nothing was swept right under the rug. What about all those donations? Let's see. We sent the money to a country that wants to protect their borders. We can't protect our borders. We had to send it to a country that was going to protect their borders, so that country could invest that money in FTX. And so that FTX could then put it mostly 90% of it in Democrats' pockets, and one of the largest contribution to Biden's campaign. That, for all the rest of us, is called money laundering. That's what it's called. It's called money laundering. But no, not when politicians do it. Nope. There's no such thing as insider trading. Not when politicians do it. Right. Just status quo and how it works and how it goes, right? Elon Musk put this up. He said this, these are the countries that require voter ID. Like, you know, everything: Iceland, Sweden, New Zealand, Denmark, Canada, Ireland, Switzerland, Finland, Australia, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Malta, United Kingdom, Spain, Emirates, Uruguay, Japan, Italy, Cape Verde, France, South Korea, Costa Rica, Botswana, Portugal, Israel, Estonia, Czech Republic, Chile, Taiwan, India, Cyprus, Slovenia, Lithuania. I mean, I'm not even halfway through the list yet, Jeff.
Every country in the world.
Every country is,
Except-
but it's racist if you do it here, Jeff.
Except the U.S.
Yeah. Fiji, Bolivia. Dude, even Fiji. They're like, you got to prove who you are, right? Mali, you got to prove who you are, right? Yeah. Albania, Ecuador. I mean, Georgia. I mean, you name it, it's all there. Nicaragua, Lebanon. It's insane. So this is the whole thing. And then he says, why not America? Those who oppose voter ID are doing so to commit fraud. Yes.
That's right.
That says it all. You're either for fraud, because when you say like, well, why would you do that? Why would you let it open up? Right? It's just insane to me.
You know, it's interesting too, because I think back, you remember it was all over the news when we finally started to bring some freedoms back to Iraq, and they decided they were going to have an election, and they had voting. And you remember they had to dip their finger in blue ink, in that permanent ink, to show that they already voted. And they were so proud of it. They're all running around with their finger with the ink because they'd never really voted before. Now, you know, what the whole thing is that even during that period of time, you heard a lot about, oh, we're bringing democracy to the region. It's like, you're bringing voting. I mean, they haven't voted before. They've never had an opportunity or a choice, but you need more infrastructure. You need an actual, proper government to support an outcome with voting. That, you have to then decide, is it, a pure democracy? Does that mean majority always rules and the minority doesn't have a voice? Or can it be, through a violent majority where you have a minority that controls the outcome of the vote, and they always seem to get a majority? Oh, wait, like Venezuela and some other countries that seem to always have that same outcome. But I just wanted to point out, from the voting perspective, though, imagine you just dip your finger in that ink and then you have that blue on your finger, and then that's it. Always in person, never by mail. And that's how you prove who voted and didn't vote, because that's it. You can't vote more than once, and that's how it goes.
That's how it is. Belgium also. There you go. I think
Belgium as well. There you go.
Belgium was on the list. It's incredible that, like, why wouldn't you want to be able to prove? And so something that's really, deeply offensive is you have a scenario with 6 hostages. Hirsch Goldberg, Poland, was an American citizen, brutally kidnapped. Okay, so it's insane that they were. If this had happened, do you think that if Donald Trump was president, these hostages would have been executed? The only thing the terrorists understand is brute force, bringing it hard, bringing it fast, and eliminating it, right? And who just got recently criticized for that? Israel, right? They viciously attacked Israel, shot rockets into Israel, but Israel was supposed to just sit back and take it. No, they went on the offensive. So you have this horrible thing. And look at this. So here we go. This is Hakeem Jeffries, a Democrat, heartbroken by the murder of 6 hostages, including Hirsch Goldberg, Poland, an American citizen, brutally kidnapped by Hamas. Brutally kidnapped. And may his memory be a blessing.
No.
He did nothing. Every hostage must be released, bring them home.
But they've done nothing to make that happen.
Nothing to make that happen. Viva Fry said, I cannot get over these idiots like Jeffries, Hakeem Jeffries, vapid platitudes. After the murder of 6 of the hostages, repeat the same brain-dead, idiotic, vapid, devoid of substance policy of release the hostages, much in line with Kamala Harris, get a deal done. Stupidity. We're governed by evil idiots.
That's
well said.
He's so spot on. Viva Fry is really, making huge waves, with his posts and videos and things like that. But he's so spot on. It's such a travesty to see what's happening. They elongated the conflict on purpose, and where I'm talking about this administration, just like with the Ukraine thing, they kept feeding it, and we've spent like what, I don't know how many billions of dollars have been spent over in the Ukraine. Nobody knows what's going on. Russia can carry this out, I guess, as long as they want it to go. We're in a very precarious position, even with that. But somehow, everyone seems that it's okay to keep feeding that war. But here, similar to, you have this whole thing that happened within Israel, with a terrorist entity that, committed, horrible atrocity. And yet the world somehow sided with the terrorist entity without looking at any significance on the ground. And there could have been a fast outcome. It could have been over and done with. They wanted to, block electricity, water, and food, and it would have been over probably within a week's time, because, that's how you fight a war, and yet they wanted to let food in. They wanted to make sure that they were letting water in. So they kept feeding and hydrating the terrorists. And then they had massive numbers of tunnels that they're still finding. And he had tunnels going through into Egypt. So he had a flow of weapons. He had all sorts of stuff coming and going. And that's what allows any type of group to keep fighting. So you shut it off. You got to shut it off. And we probably could have had, and I'm not a military strategist, but I'm just
really, Jeff,
out there, right? But we could have had a much shorter outcome. But instead, the world backed and really promoted by the Biden administration and Kamala Harris said, hey, you know what? Let's drag this thing on.
Same with Ukraine. They had a deal on the table.
That's the point, right? There was a deal, yeah. And so here we go again. But the world should have been pressuring anybody that had influence over the Hamas terrorists to say, you know what? They're going to eliminate all of you. And there's other places that could have been pressured in Qatar and elsewhere that are harboring the terrorist entity. And so you put an end to it. The world steps up, said, hey, what we just witnessed is wrong. We're not going to put up with it. End it. Israel's got every right to do what they're doing. Instead, the world and these leftist, fascist nuts all over the world on college campuses, start ramping up the anti-Semitism. And that's reached an epic proportion that we haven't seen in quite some time. And that's division. But that's what the Democrats want. They want to divide at every turn. They love this. They love this type of again, go back to the imagery, but they love this imagery. To them, it's good. It's a good campaign fodder. This time it's backfiring on them big time, because they're losing all of their communities. That's why they're importing all of these illegals, and they're trying to import as many votes as they possibly can.
Well, Jeff,
they're just backwards right now.
I know I've made the point before, but I want to bring it back just to show you how ridiculously lunatics they act, right? So you have Hamas, which basically goes in and kills, was it 1,300, Israelis, right? And all of a sudden, everything turns to Hamas. Now, you had Russia invade Ukraine, but Ukraine, you see, this one is okay. Ukraine has the right to defend itself. Now, Ukraine's going to get all the money. Ukraine's going to get world support. And Ukraine's going to say, hey, we got to stop this. Okay, so you tell me what's different about those, right? What's different about those two scenarios? You had two countries, both were invaded, and then only one country gets the blessing of the Democrat Party, which is, oh, no, we got to fund that. We got to send billions of revenue there. We got to send billions of money, of taxpayer money there, so that they can defend themselves and defend their border. However, Israel isn't granted that same right. This is how you know this is politics, and this is how you know none of it makes sense, because you tell me what's different about that, right? Very similar, and there was a peace deal on the table. And it was the U.S. that had the prime minister at the time go over and thwart the deal. This was when Boris was prime minister, and so it just ended. Right, there was a deal, and there could have been a speedy, fast resolution. But this is why a lot of people have turned from the Democrat Party, and it's not that they like Trump. They're tired of this party. They want to endorse freedom. Right. And so you have a lot of people that are stopping and getting off of that train, because when did the Democrats become the party of war? And this is what's happening. You had 6 hostages killed. There's been nothing said about it. 6 hostages, an American hostage killed, viciously killed. And you know what? Nothing. Biden's on vacation. He's been at the beach for how many weeks? Nobody knows what's going on. But watch this. They caught Mr. Tim Walz, who's the biggest liability and the best thing that ever happened to the Trump campaign. Here he is. He's asked a simple question, and watch how he reacts to it.
What's your reaction to the 6 hostages being found dead in Gaza?
Thanks, everybody.
Talk about a coward. A coward. He's asked a serious question. Like, you can't interview these people. He's taking questions. He's laughing. Ha ha ha. He's asked, what about the 6 hostages that were murdered? And his reaction is this.
6 hostages being found dead in Gaza.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. This is the guy you want as your VP, right? You have a similar person that you're going to want to elect as the president. Somebody who can't even lead. Someone that had to have... I mean, imagine you want to be the leader of the free world. You want to be the leader of the United States, and you have this moronic nut job there for your safety net. And he gets asked about the stolen valor comment, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't say that. I didn't do." I mean, no one's questioning. No one's not questioning his service. That's honorable, but it's what he said about his service, talking about serving in combat, which he never did, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct. I have that too. Let's get to that. That's next on the
agenda
here.
That was I was watching those videos.
Yep. Here we go. Right here. It's made it. Well, I want to sort of read through this first because I think this is important. Let's go and Trump put a post on this.
That's that's
yeah. Don't forget about that.
Always sniffing the hair.
It's good to have Trump back on X. So he put this out. He said, "I want to thank the families of our great warriors who have been lost to us for the way that they came together as one, and thank me for attending at the request the celebration of their wonderful family members who, because of the incompetence of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, are no longer with us. Thank you for saying you wanted me to stand with you at Arlington National Cemetery and take photos. It was at your request, not mine. But it was my great honor to do so. We will never forget." Lightweight VP Kamala Harris tried turning it around because they weren't there. Right. Imagine this. Imagine you don't show up. It's such an important event. You weren't there. You've never spoken to the families. Never spoke to the families. This is unprecedented. This goes back to the beginning of World War I.
3.5, almost 4 years.
Yeah, when you'd have a death like this, where the president would call the family. This has been going on in Democrat, administrations, Republican administrations, but it didn't happen in this administration. 13 families. Not a phone call, not a question. Didn't even bring their names up at the State of the Union, right? Barely a mention of it. And he goes on to say that in Afghanistan, you don't take the soldiers out first, you take the soldiers out last. This would have been military 101, the most basic. And the leaders of that disaster should immediately be fired. He's vowed to say that anybody who is associated any way, shape, or form to that is gone. We have fools in the White House, and now they're trying to solve the hostage crisis in Israel. Guess how that's going to turn out? She wasn't invited, but the president should have showed up, right? They didn't want them there. I mean, but the president could have obviously have been there. I want to show this, and then we'll look at a video here too. Kamala Harris made a big miscalculation by politicizing Trump's visit to Arlington. The parents of the Kabul 13 are fuming. 8 of the 13 have already spoken out. We've already seen videos, and we're going to play Mark Schmitz right here. We have Mark Schmitz's video. We're going to play that, but every one of them has spoken out.
Yeah,
every single one of them said, and they also went through the protocol of finding out what was allowed for the military, what they could do, what was presentable. They went and researched it. They didn't just show up and it was a photo op. So this is what happens when you make a grave miscalculation. You end up looking pretty, and I was looking
for hours he stayed,
and I was looking for her post, Jeff. For some reason I couldn't find it. I don't know what happened to it, but
which post?
Harris's post where she was calling out Trump for the photo op. I just couldn't find it. I went to VP, but here's Mark Schmitz. This is him.
They weren't even invited because they didn't reach out.
This is Mark Schmitz, Gold Star father of Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Here we are on a beautiful holiday weekend day. I got to stop what I'm doing, spending time with what's left of my family, to address a heinous, vile, and disgusting post put out by Kamala Harris, trying to incite those that don't follow the truth that President Trump was in Arlington as a political stunt. Shows you how much you know about the 13 families. We invited him to be there. Groundwork was put into place by Congressman Ice's office to make sure we followed protocol. Why did we want Trump there? It wasn't to help his political campaign. We wanted a leader. That explains why you and Joe didn't get a call. Imagine for a second that your kid is killed, and there's a president of the United States willing to take you under his wing and listen to you. That's what we found in President Trump. Certainly not you, and certainly not Joe Biden. You have 13 families who have been waiting over 3 years to so much as get a phone call, to so much as hear our kids' names said aloud in the halls of Congress, at a State of the Union, hell, anything. The irony behind your post that you give a rat's ass about our military or our veterans, Jared's brothers and sisters in arms, the rest of the 12, their brothers and sisters in arms, is an outright lie. We're living proof of that. You're despicable. You have zero business running this country. And I pray to God, Americans wake the hell up and get your ass out of office. You have spit in our face for the last fucking time.
Yeah, it's powerful, man.
Man, that's
powerful. Powerful stuff.
You
And
know.
they're all powerful. We just chose to play one. We're going to play them all, but they're all powerful videos. And again, this is when you go around with propaganda, talking points, blah 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 blah, and everything's always out there. It never comes here. And the word I want to use here is accountability. There's zero accountability with this administration for causing the high inflation, for doing that. You know who it is? Oh no, we got to go out to the grocery store because they're price gouging. Why? Because you stopped drilling here and the gas prices went through the roof and the cost of moving goods and services went through the roof and everything went through the roof, but you're not responsible for that. No, let's come down hard on grocery stores who have the worst margins of all sort of businesses. Nobody thinks they're going to make a lot of money going, most of the time the money they make is by placement. Companies pay them to get this part of the shelf, not the bottom of the shelf. They get paid to have the space. That's how they make their money. They don't make their money at 3 cents here and 4 cents there. There's a lot of different ways that they earn money. But again, nobody thinks, hey, let's have a grocery store. So these are the people that and then you're going to come down on the companies because the manufacturers of the food and put in boxes, the boxes get smaller. The price keeps going up. What do you want them to do? You want them to sell it for the same thing? Do you want them to double that? And so nobody buys it. You want to make the boxes smaller. So this is what they always go after. It's always out there. It's never in there because there's zero accountability. And you're going to hire. You want to do the job? Great. You got 6 months left. Do the job now. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you can make happen. You can't make it happen as VP when you got a checked out president. You're never going to make it happen. So cut the gas later.
That's a great point. I mean, it's now or never. Show the American people that you are competent and capable. Like you just said, Chip, there's a president that is MIA. There's absolutely no way that he's running this country right now through and just the lack of mental capacity right now. You and I were playing a video a little bit earlier before we came on of Biden back from 1989. The guy, on the wrong side of history, but his speech and his brain, he's just on point with his, the way he's speaking, and he's not stuttering. He's not forgetting things, not saying crazy things, outside of his already crazy ideology that he was supporting. But, you have someone that's just not mentally there right now. And here's Kamala she has a chance to step up, but she's not going to, Chip. There's no way she will. What we just watched with that father, it's so gut wrenching to hear, because you think back over the years, and we have soldiers that sacrifice everything, and the greatest sacrifice, which is their life, they don't come home, and it has an impact on the family, on their kids, on their spouses, on their parents, on everything, on their friends, and then here you have, at the bare minimum, you have a president and vice president in office, bare minimum, some the 13 that lost their lives when they shouldn't have, and it was because of a horrible decision by the president and the vice president, because she was the last one in the room when he made that decision.
Right. She bragged about being the
Really
last.
bragged about it. Bare minimum. Call them up. Show them that you appreciate, and it's a horrible word to say, but that their children, their sons, daughters that have sacrificed, and there were a lot of wounded as well, that there's some level of thanks that we're giving from this country for their service, and nothing. I mean, it's just if there's anyone out there, after seeing something like that, that's like the bare minimum of respect for everything else that they're going to do in our lives. And if you'd still support them and vote for them, I mean, what does that say about you, right? What does that say about your mentality to still want to support someone like that? It
Jeff,
just doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to put this comment up here. Apex Crypto, who's a long time supporter of the show. I think this takes a lot of courage right here. I think this takes saying something, and this is somebody who, again, listen, we have people that don't necessarily always agree with us, or maybe, the preferences on the left side of the aisle, and that's fine. And this is why I say we can come together on things we can agree on. But he says, I might actually vote for Trump. And that's saying something. It's saying a lot. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Well, you can't believe it, and a lot of people can't believe it. And the people that mostly can't believe it are the folks that, like a Bobby Kennedy, a guy whose whole family dynasty and life was around the Democrat Party. You think, I mean, what did it take for him, who's not particularly, matching up with Trump on 80% of what Trump thinks, but focusing on the ability to make an impact, the ability to actually do something positive, right? And basically get together and things that they do agree on. And that's why I think it's too. So I see Niall says Trump's mentally not there. He's too old. You can say what you want about the man. I don't see him as being too old. Actually, my dad's best friend, who passed away a couple years ago, was in his mid-90s. He fought in World War I. He told me the day he met Patton. He told me how he met Patton. We had amazing conversation, and he was a devout Democrat. And we often sparred a little bit, just soft sparring. But this guy was about as sharp as you could get. He remembered crazy stories from his childhood, right? He was about as sharp. Was he too old? He was in his mid-90s. No, this man was sharp as a tack. There are people like Tim Walz, who's 60, the same age as me. We're both 60 years old. Same age as me. This guy looks like he's 74. He acts like he's completely out of touch with reality, right? Is he too old? Am I too old? Which one of us is too old? Am I too old at 60, or is Tim Walz on that job at 60? It's not the same thing. There are two different ways to look at everything. I've seen people in their 80s that are sharp as hell, and then I've seen people in their 60s that are starting to lose it, right? Yep. So it's about competency. It's about accountability. And that's pretty much all I'll say on it. And I see XRP Chevy says, Niles, time to wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
And shout out to Mark Smithson for the support. Thank you. Appreciate that. We can't see the super sticker on our end, but you guys all saw it, so you guys know how cool it was.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mark. But we don't get to see what it looks like, but thank you for the super sticker. Sophie says that's a great post, Apex. Listen, a lot of respect, man. A lot of respect. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of, it takes a lot inside to do something that's so beyond yourself of what your belief system is. But, that's why I say I think it takes a lot of courage, and I think it takes, especially to say it publicly, right? Because you could get ridiculed, people could say stuff about it. I think it takes courage. That's my personal sort of thing. And I thought we should end this on a let's do two things back to back. We usually try to go a little bit softer and a little funnier towards the end, but this is the first gentleman. This is the one who's married to Kamala Harris. This is Dougie. She calls him Dougie. This is Dougie, and I like to use the word C-U-C-K because he's the definitely, when you look him up in the dictionary, that's a picture of him. But this is him attempting to do something that just doesn't go off so well.
USA. So you can say it. USA.
Like just like everything they do, highly ineffective. Just USA.
USA. So you can say it.
I don't know, man. I was like, what is going on there, right? And then you probably haven't seen this, but Trump pranked Biden on the beach. Let's watch this.
Hello? Hi, is Mr. Lester there? I'm sorry, who? Mr. Lester, first name Mo? I'm trying to talk to Mr. Mo Lester. Are you Mr. Mo Lester? He totally fell for it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Anyway, that's all the show we really have. Jeff, what do you want to say before we get out of here?
Got a lot to say. There's a comment that I see here that I don't agree with at all, but we'll have to bring that up on the next one. I think it's a little bit off base, and it would take a little bit of getting into to comment on it. But I do want to say that I appreciate Apex, for putting it out there. I think that's a great statement. It shows growth. It shows that and the fact that you're here with us, which I think is really outstanding. That the one thing I've always said, we have to, unlike the other side, they keep their arms closed. I always believe you have to keep your arms open, and hope, that people will, wake up and start seeing things that will help themselves and, better their surroundings and better the country that we live in and bring true freedom and economic prosperity. And so appreciate that, quite a bit. Appreciate our one viewer over there on Twitch, over there in Belgium, holding down the fort. I know it's not easy to hold down the fort over at Twitch, but and there you go. There's
another one from Apex. Always appreciated the show, Jeff and Chip. They're two of the good ones in the space. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've sort of pivoted towards more of the geopolitical thing. We, again, we have to go. We have to do what we feel is right too. We have to do what we feel is like the best way to message stuff, comment on it. We're not always going to be right. We're not always going to be. You might not always agree with us, but we're trying to just put surface some of the stuff and talk about the impact to the crypto and the the blockchain space as a whole. And we think about decentralization and why it's a big threat to most governments and why most governments are a little bit fearful, even though they've passed regulations. But I still think the free speech thing is something we've got to have. And I don't remember who we played the other day. It's not the speech you agree with. It's the speech you don't agree with. It's exactly that speech that's protected. If you want to say crazy things, then you have the right to say crazy things. We have the right not to listen to you or not to give you a forum for it. Like, we don't have to listen to you. We can say something back. But again, it shouldn't be shut down. The stuff you agree with, the stuff you don't agree with. It's all part of free speech.
It is.
Thank you. Have a good night. Happy Labor Day, guys. Yeah, let's say Happy Labor Day. Appreciate you, Niles. And
Happy Labor Day.
And remembering that tomorrow is Labor Day in the U.S. and Canada. So if any of our Canadian friends, American friends in here today.
Canada supports us.
Yeah, Canada has. What's odd is Canada has Labor Day on the same day. Like, it's, I think, the only holiday we share together.
Huh.
But they also celebrate, like, I know Australia celebrates a little bit different. A lot of countries have it on a different day, but we just happen to coincide with Canada. So interesting.
Why do we support Labor Day? It's supports labor unions.
I don't know what it's about, Jeff. I just know it's going to be a barbecue day for me. That's what I'm going to be
barbecue
doing.
Day.
That's just going to be. It's going to be a day for me to catch up on my work. Is what it's going to be. I'm going to be working in the morning anyway. So it's like, it's all part of the good stuff. But everybody, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming in here. Thank you for having the dialogue. Jeff and I couldn't do the show without you. Otherwise, we would just be, talking to each other. You guys largely influence the show and the direction of the show, and take us off course often, which is part of the show. That's part of what we do
the show. Steve Willits was saying, maybe you guys need a left-leaning member of our create a trio. Well, we have left-leaning. That's the best part. When we read the comments, that's our show. We kind of go through comments pick some of it out, see.
Comments
Sometimes
disagree
there's a
with
lot
us.
of internal, right? And that's the best. It's by far the best. So love it, especially on both sides. You know, people come in here and they're like, "You guys, all you do is you guys are promoting clickbait, something like that." And you know, some of our it's really cool.
Yeah, but we always dispel our own clickbait, so that's just
right.
what it is.
Right away. Jim D said, "Babies permitted on Labor Day, even for anti-baby feminists."
Oh, brother, man, Jim D, man, bringing the wit. What do we do without that wit, man? Are we going to be on tomorrow? No, we're not going to be on tomorrow.
We'll be on Wednesday.
We will be on Wednesday, though. Wednesdays are normal nights. Our schedule is Sunday at 8, Wednesday at 8, and then Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. So if you're in Australia, then it's the morning show. I think we go on at 10 a.m. and the next day. So for Australia, it would be Monday morning at 10 a.m. and then Thursday morning at 10 a.m. And then we go on. What time is it at night on Saturday?
10 p.m.
10 p.m. on Saturday nights for
We're talking about Australia.
Yeah, Australia. Yep.
Crypto Wealth is back home after 2 months being out
I hope you had a good
vacation.
I hope you had a good vacation, man. A good holiday there.
He was logging in from Spain and also
he was on the beach. Remember, he was on the beach. He was like trying to log in. He was trying to get a signal. It was awesome. So I appreciate you, man.
Really cool. So appreciate everybody. We'll be back here Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go check out onthechain.io. Go check out Badass Yeti's Coffee, which is also really cool. I'll put a quick link to it. It's Badass Yeti Coffee.
We call them Bays. Bays.
Bays for short. Go check out some Badass Yeti's Coffee. It's awesome. And that's what we've got. So we'll check you guys out Wednesday night. See you then.
See you on the next one. Chip and Jeff.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.